Want to retire someplace on the planet where the women look like this? I thought you did. But if you want to know how, first you need to go to MGTOWbooks.com and purchase MGTOW's Guide to Retiring on 200K in Southeast Asia. Don't forget to use the promo code POPP, that's P-O-P-P, for 10% off. A link is in the description.
What's up, you drunken cocksockets? Terrence Popp here, Ridiculous.com. And gentlemen, I'm wearing this shirt just for you because Good Pop showed up today with a truckload of good news. MGTOW wearing screen 5. As we all know, with good news comes some bad news. And the bad news is, I'm still dyslexic and I couldn't spell marriage. And I couldn't do it either in reality, so Space Ghost. But apparently, neither can the ladies. Winning.
Why are marriage rates down? Study blames lack of economically attractive men.
Come on, that's great! This is what's called loading the gun that somebody else gets to hold at your head. I am shocked and amazed that this article is still on their website because Feminism claims that hypergamy is a myth. Just like the Friendzone, huh? Right, ladies? In fact, I made a whole episode about it. Here it is, check it out. They sell you snake oil, like the wage gap and the rape culture, like they're facts. But hypergamy and the Friendzone, those are sexist myths, right? Wah. Despite the fact, the actual fact, that we see this shit every day. So, pour yourself the menagerie, and we're gonna go down the river of lunacy together. Yeah.
Marriage rates have steadily declined over the past few decades, and now researchers from Cornell University are offering up a possible explanation.
Oh, really? This ought to be good. Coming from a university that has its own social justice career fair, I'm sure this is completely accurate, right? And I'm also sure that your explanation is not going to blame men, not in one tiny bit.
There just aren't as many economically attractive men for unmarried women to meet as there used to be.
Correction! Women don't marry you for your money, they divorce you for it. And if you don't have enough money, they're not gonna marry you. Cheers. You're not poor, you're just broke. You can still go out and go hog wild and tag all the pussy you want, and the women don't want to marry you. Winning! You might be broke, but you are rich beyond measure. Cheers, this one's to you, you mother fornicating geniuses. But we have to focus on the real kernel of truth within this paragraph. When you talk about economically attractive men, well, that's hypergamy. But it's still a sexist myth, right? Oh, wrong, Space Ghost.
Previous studies had attempted to answer why marriage rates are on the decline, but most focused solely on gender ratio discrepancies as opposed to looking into the specific socioeconomic characteristics that make a particular man and woman a good match.
That's a whole lot of word salad, and it probably tastes like shit. But as an army grunt, please allow me to cover it with my ranch dressing. And why is that? It makes the whole thing easier to swallow. In fact, ask your mama, screen 5. I am gonna break down this multi-syllabic bullshit with one sentence. Women want men who are economically equal or superior to them. That's it. That's all you need to know. But, gentlemen, if you are equal to her, you're just a stepping stone.
First, the study's authors examined data collected on recent marriages between 2007 and 2012, and then 2013 through 2017, gathered as part of the American Community Survey's cumulative 5-year marriage statistics. That data was used to estimate the financial and socio-demographic characteristics of unmarried women's potential husbands by creating economic profiles that resembled real husbands who had married comparable women. These potential husband estimates were then compared to actual population data on unmarried men across national, state, and local locations.
If the first paragraph is word salad, this is the entire salad bar. Basically, from what I hear, they tried to build the perfect man in a computer. Oh my God!
You're not human.
I'm an android.
Researchers found that these estimated potential dream husbands had an average income about 58% higher than the actual unmarried men currently available to unmarried women.
And this proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that most of the women out there are cock-thirsty, money-grubbing hooers. Think about this, gentlemen. 42% of you out there don't make enough money to satisfy the average woman out there. And we all know what the average woman looks like in the Western world. They're not worth it anyway. The average woman out there is a size 14. Do you really want that slob of the whore jumping up and down on your pogo stick, breaking your back? I don't.
Who the fuck is Uncle Nick? Well, he was born an asshole, but he's a dick by choice. He's the uncle you wish you had. He's a cigar-smoking, aviator-wearing, liquor-loving punk who tells it like it is. In a nutshell, he's bad pop without the brain damage. Get your copy today on Amazon. A link is in the description.
These synthetic husbands were also 30% more likely to be employed than real single men, and 19% more likely to have a college degree.
There's a good reason for both of those things. Do you want to hear them? I think you do. It might have something to do with the fact that we are now having our third generation of men being raised by women. And the women who raise these dudes claim to be strong, independent women. Wah. I got some bad news for you, ladies. You're not by a long shot. You cannot be strong and independent while you're living off the government. And you might not need a man, but you need the government to point a gun at his head to pay for your goddamn lifestyle now, don't you? As it turns out, ladies, you are even shittier at raising men than you are at being strong and independent, Screen 5.
You're a damaged goods lady. Fuck you.
Single mothers raise a majority of this country's violent criminals and drug addicts. So it just stands to reason that they raise a majority of this country's unemployed. Because these dudes didn't have a father around that taught them how to live in the real world and take care of themselves and earn their own goddamn money. And you want to know why these same dudes are less likely to have a college degree? Well, I'm gonna tell you. Because it's sexist to have a scholarship for just men, but it's progressive to have all kinds of scholarships and financial aid for women.
It was also observed that many racial and ethnic minorities, specifically African American women, seem to be dealing with especially low numbers of economically attractive potential mates.
Of course, it wouldn't be a liberal study unless they threw down a couple race cards, right? Triple dog, wham. But it's gonna get really dark in here and you're not gonna like this. The reason why African American women can't find high quality dudes, well, they're just not quality. Space Ghost.
You see, black women celebrate the things that make them difficult. They celebrate this stuff. They give each other high fives and make hashtags about it. Nobody wants loud, brash, overweight women who may or may not be wearing fake hair, sweetie. That's not authenticity. That's being a fucking headache.
African American women have been rated the least attractive across the world by men. Links are in the description. And pointing that out does not make me a racist, so pound sand. If you had access to all the Polaroids I have on my bookshelf, you'd have a hard time calling me a racist, Screen 5.
Well, that rules out the race thing. You were just as black last week.
I would go into more detail about this, but obviously, I'm melanin challenged, so I'm not allowed to. Even with that being said, I am positive we're going to get demonetized. So check out the links below for Patreon, PayPal, and Subscribestar. Because YouTube isn't going to pay me for telling the truth, but I'm hoping you will.
Additionally, women on both the low end and high end of the socioeconomic spectrum face a harder time finding an economically capable mate.
Well, there's two reasons for that, and none of those two have anything to do with men. If you are a high-status woman, chances are you are doing well in your career, and at a minimum, you are in your late 30s. You have already blown through 2 of your fertility windows, and the dudes at the same status level as you are going 15 to 20 years younger. And you want to know why? Because they can. Just try being a 45-year-old woman trying to bag a 25-year-old dude. The most you will ever be to that 25-year-old ball of raging cockfire is practice, Screen 5. But On the flip side, that 40-year-old dude is gonna go for the 20-year-old virgin. And 2 years later, he's gonna put a ring on it. And then he's gonna pump her full of more DNA than a forensics lab. Winning. On the flip side of the coin, you got the poor women. Unless you're an 8, 9, or a 10, that's exactly where you're gonna stay. And why? Quality, baby. You wouldn't marry a poor dude now, would ya? Fair play. And now we have a study from a major university that supports that. You gotta love the left. They published this story hoping that they could blame it all on men. But all they really did was expose women's true nature. And women in the Western world are status-sinking missiles. They want to blow up your life and walk away with half your money. And they actually have the balls to be shocked when they find that high-value man and he doesn't want to marry him.
How dare you! You and your preferences?
I'm gonna ask you a legitimate question here, ladies. Why the fuck should he? You are one of a whole harem of hearers throwing the pussy at the wall hoping it sticks. What makes you different? Most of these high-status men that you want to lay into have a higher body count than the Clintons, Screen 5.
Most American women hope to marry, but current shortages of marriageable men, that's men with a stable job and a good income, make this increasingly difficult, especially in the current gig economy of unstable, low-paying service jobs.
Thank you, globalist. Space Ghost.
Marriage is still based on love, but it is also fundamentally an economic transaction.
Imagine my shock. There is one sentence in this entire article that makes sense. Be still, my black dead heart.
Many young men today have little to bring to the marriage bargain, especially as young women's educational levels on average now exceed their male suitors.
Do you have any idea what a bargain means? I don't think you do. In a bargain, somebody on each side of the equation has something to gain. In today's Western world, please tell me exactly what men have to gain. It's not the pussy because women have deregulated the sexual marketplace and they're throwing that shit all around for free. It's not economic security, well it is for the ladies, but not for the dude because after he gets divorced, chances are he's gonna live in the street, kinda like I did. And please explain to me what your education level has anything to do with compatibility. The only education that these ladies received was a leftist brainwashing. No more, no less. And as a result, they're gonna die alone, OPAF, old, poor, and powerless, and more than likely, fat.
I mean, her blood type is pudding.
You wanna know why all of these studies about marriage get everything wrong? Because just like women, these studies all ignore logic and reality. And why? Let's go through the list, and all of my sources will be in the description. 80% of all divorces, you guessed it, filed by women. And the number one reason for divorce? Money. If it's your first marriage, you have a slightly better chance of making it, but what does that mean when one half of your shit's on the line and you're living in the street? Half of you people out there are gonna get divorced, and you dudes, 85% of the time you're gonna lose your kids. As a result, you're gonna have to pay child support, which can be maxed out at half of your take-home pay. But there is yet more. You might have to pay alimony, and some of you might have to pay it for life. Because, you gotta keep her in the lifestyle she's accustomed to. You ever wonder why men are leading the charge in suicides and homelessness? Well, I don't, Space Ghost. I know you're wondering the exact same thing I am. Why? Oh God, why is this happening, and why is it always our fault? Gentlemen, it's not your fault. And if you want to know whose fault it is, well, it's me, I'm going to tell you. 3 things: leftism, feminism, and women who are too stupid to question the first 2. We're about to jam 80 years of history into a small block of time, so please bear with me. When the United States went into World War II, a large majority of the men were drafted into the armed forces. As a result, the industry back home screeched to a halt. So, they could either shut down or bring women into the workforce. And after the war ended, the industry back home said, holy shit, we have this whole new workforce that we have not exploited. We'll have to change that. But we can't do it overnight, and we have to make them think it's their idea. And what's the best way to stock your workforce? You let everyone fuck like rabbits. Winning. Because that is what happens when men come back from war. They get tired of hiding in a hole to save their own lives, and they want to crawl into another one to make it. And thus began the baby boomer generation, and all of the globalists out there all reamed their fingers and said, I can't wait. And all the while, they were padding the pockets of the politicians so they would start their war on poverty in the 60s. In 1963, the Civil Rights and Equal Pay Act were passed. This guaranteed equal treatment for everyone. But people were still poor and they needed to get free shit.
And this administration today, here and now, declares unconditional war on poverty in America.
LBJ, which does not stand for a Spanish blowjob. He sent people door to door to apprise these women of their right to welfare.
Provided there was no man in the house. And we went from 25% of blacks being born outside of wedlock in 65 to 75% right now. And you look at how much money that we spent on welfare, and the lines are parallel.
And that would become easier because no-fault divorce laws would be ratified across the entire country by the early 1970s.
But if I kick the man out, how am I going to get another man to write a check against me? Wait.
You don't need another man. You got daddy government. And we're going to legalize abortion and birth control for you. So not only can you go work for the man, you can fuck the man and not worry about any responsibilities whatsoever.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were having a state the obvious contest.
Globalists made becoming a government leech as attractive as possible. So now you have all of these single mothers living off the government that have to go back to work. But only 25 hours a week, otherwise it messes with their benefits. And I made a whole episode about it. Here it is. Check it out.
Oh, thank God you're here.
Not-So-Sane Man's Guide to the Multiverse takes a former cop collecting alimony and drops him into a world of insanity for shits and giggles.
What the hell are you doing with the money I'm giving you every month?
Salsa. Oh, booze and hookers.
If you're ready to laugh at the absurdity and cringe at the reality, click on the link in the description to watch Brett William Mauser's Not-So-Sane Man's Guide to the Multiverse right now. All 7 episodes are free to watch on Amazon Prime.
We need some backup.
So what happens when you have a finite amount of jobs and you double the amount of people trying to get those jobs? You can pay the people that you do hire way less money. And after you get done fucking everyone here in the ass, you can outsource all of those jobs and fuck all those people in the ass too. No matter how you look at this, the globalists are profiting hand over fist, all at your expense. And here's the best part. These ladies think this is good for them, and it was all their idea. Bad news, ladies, and the truth always hurts. You are not standing up against the patriarchy. You're supporting it on your own backs.
No offense, but you are a stupid asshole.
You swallowed this whole shit hook, line, and sinker, kind of like the cock. And anyone... You go all the way back to the first paragraph in this article, and the problem sticks out like a sore thumb, or a pea nice, if you know what I mean. They talk about economically attractive men and unmarried women. I got news for you, ladies. Not every unmarried woman deserves an economically attractive man. In fact, I'm just gonna say it, most of you don't because you're walking around with a size 14, Space Ghost. And no, it's not just because you're fat. It also has a lot to do with the fact that you're crazy, you're entitled, stupid, and selfish. And you were stupid enough to subscribe to an ideology that scrubs all the responsibility off of you for all of that. Feminism taught you that you could go out and bang as many people as you want, just like men, right? When?
Casual sex has little to no impact on longer-term psychological well-being. Things like self-esteem, life satisfaction, depression, anxiety.
There's absolutely no part of that sentence that is true.
Casual sex has many potential benefits. Perhaps the most obvious one is sexual pleasure, orgasms, hedonic ecstasy, if you will, an increased sense of self-confidence, accomplishment, empowerment.
Gonorrhea, no. And after running a forest through that wood chipper, these women think they are still gonna bag a top-tier man. How is that math gonna work out for them? What sane man is gonna sign up for that, especially when he's getting an ungrateful, entitled, selfish cunt who can't cook, will not watch your back, and then fuck your buddy? If I wanted a Blue Falcon situation, I would have stayed in the Army. And I made a whole episode about that. Here it is, check it out. Bottom line, we don't have a shortage of marriageable men. We have expectations that are way too high. They want the assertive, brave alpha male that is carrying the mark of the beast. Oh my God, I should go to church. Now let's get this straight. Those things by themselves you might be able to find, but when you combine all of those things with the other shit women have to have, that's when we make the trip into Bizarro Land. Let's take that same guy that is exceptionally rare, and now we're gonna add a bunch of additional shit. He should be college educated because, he should think like me. He shouldn't be cheap. In fact, he should give me money whenever I want it. Because after all, that's just good manners. He should live clean in his space and his body. In fact, he should also be a vegan. And I made a video about that. Here it is, check it out. He should be passionate and faithful. Now keep this in mind. The ladies that want all of this shit from you have no intention of doing this themselves. Especially being faithful. That's why cuckoldry is going through the roof, and we made a video about it. Here it is, check it out. But hey, it's okay because CNN said it's good for you, right? Yeah, Space Ghost. Ladies, I'm gonna take off the psycho hat and I'm gonna put on the truth-telling hat. And I hope you brought some lube. To all you ladies out there who are in your mid to late 30s wondering where are all the good men at? Well, you showed up and you ran his ass off, or you stabbed him in the back, or you put him in the friend zone. Thus, you did it to yourself. Bye, cats. You created this problem and you are not allowed to bitch about it. And if you're wondering where my message is to all of the good women out there, they've already heard it loud and clear. Because she's already married with 2 kids, in a house and a car that a dude pays for, and she also gave him a beer, cooked him a steak, and is gonna bang his fucking brains out as soon as he goes to bed. And after she gets it put right in the warehouse or swallows half a quart of throat yogurt, she's gonna go right to the store with the fancy apparel and buy herself something kinky to come wear for her husband because that's economically attractive, Screen 5. To all of my MGTOW fans out there, what you are doing is working. Keep doing it and recruit as many as you can to the cause. With that being said, my menagerie is empty, just like the feminist's future. So please, while you're at it, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you're notified of all future videos. And if you don't, it's okay because I'm not marrying you anyway. Fuck! Son of a bitch! The most you will ever be to that 25-year-old ball of raging hot cockfire is practice, Screen 5. Fuck! Cockfire is practice, Screen 5. Oh, fuck!
All right, let's just do a Screen 5.
What the fuck is wrong with me, man? I'm stuck in the Screen 5. Let's do a Screen 5 then.
Okay.
Yeah.